Derrick Henry is hitting that point in the season where every single run feels like it could flip NFL history on its head, and that kind of moment naturally puts people on edge in the best way possible. He's so close to passing some of the biggest legends ever carry a football that it's impossible to watch this game without feeling like something huge could happen at any second. It's that kind of tension where even a simple run can suddenly turn into one of those plays people talk about for years. And what makes it even better is how perfectly the upcoming matchup sets the stage for it. The Jets' defense has struggled badly against the run. Henry is coming in at a frightening pace, and the gap between him and the next step on the all-time list has never been this small. It's the kind of setup that makes you want to watch every snap, because this could be the Sunday when one of the greatest ever takes another unforgettable leap toward NFL eternity. Derrick Henry walks into this game with something incredibly clear in front of him, a very real chance to climb another rung on the ladder of the greatest running backs of all time. It's not hype. It's not storyline. It's math. He's sitting at 12,230 rushing yards and needs just 83 more to move up the historic list. And when someone with his stature gets this close to a milestone this massive, you automatically lock in, because suddenly every carry carries a different kind of weight. And the timing couldn't be better. The Jets are one of the weakest run defenses in the league, and that opens the door for Henry to play his style without thinking twice. He doesn't need trick plays, special situations, or a crazy game script. All he needs is to run like he always does, that physical, punishing, defense-draining style, and that milestone moves right into reach. It almost feels like the schedule lined up perfectly for this moment to happen. What makes all of this even more powerful is how naturally it fits into Henry's career. He isn't closing in on these marks by accident. He's here because he survived years of punishment, carried entire offenses, and maintained a level of production that very few running backs can sustain for this long. So when he gets within striking distance of a group full of legends, it doesn't feel like a surprise. It feels like the natural continuation of who he's always been. And that closeness to history creates a different kind of attention, not just because of the numbers, but because of the names sitting in front of him. When you pull up the list and see exactly who he's about to pass, the magnitude of what Sunday could represent becomes impossible to miss. And that's where the weight of those names really starts to show. When you look at the NFL's all-time rushing list, the first thing that jumps out is the weight those names carry. Marcus Allen, Adrian James, Marshall Faulk. Players who shaped entire eras and helped redefine what the running back position could be. And now Derrick Henry is standing right at that doorstep, just a handful of good runs away from moving past every one of them. This isn't just about numbers. It's about stepping into a room built by the legends of the game. The funny part is that Allen and James should fall almost immediately. Their numbers are so close that a couple early carries could take care of both. Faulk's at a little higher, but still very reachable depending on how quickly Henry finds his rhythm. It's the kind of situation where everything feels like it's moving too fast to ignore. Every single carry pulls him closer to a place that felt way too far off just a few years ago. And then comes the name that changes everything, Jim Brown. This isn't just another milestone on a spreadsheet. This is a historical landmark, a player who pushed boundaries, dominated the league year after year, and built a legacy that still stands untouched decades later. Watching Henry march toward that territory puts his entire career in a different light, not as someone who piled up stats, but as someone who genuinely belongs on the shelf where the giants of the game live. That approach to Brown's legacy creates a question that hangs in the air. If Henry is already creeping this close to a name that iconic, what does that say about where he's headed next? And that's when the weight of Jim Brown's presence becomes even bigger, setting the stage for why this moment carries so much meaning. Talking about Jim Brown is like talking about a different era of football entirely. He dominated the game in ways that are almost impossible to capture without sounding dramatic, because everything about him was extreme. Production, consistency, impact, respect. When you realize Henry is on the verge of passing a player with that kind of legacy, it becomes clear that this isn't just another number about to change. It's something heavy, something that carries memory and emotion for anyone who's followed football for a long time. Brown played less than 10 seasons and still put up numbers that feel untouchable even now. 106 rushing touchdowns, 126 total touchdowns, multiple MVPs, and a presence that scared defenses before the snap even happened. Passing someone like that means stepping into a place almost nobody ever gets to reach. And when Henry talks about legacy, this is exactly the kind of moment that defines what he means. He's not just running to help the team. He's running to put his name somewhere only the greats ever stand. What stands out most is how Henry got here, without shortcuts. His style, built on power, patience, and repetition, usually burns out careers fast. Most backs built like him were down early, but Henry didn't. Year after year, he keeps delivering volume, dominance, and presence. And that durability is exactly what gives this chase after Brown so much more respect. And when you place all of this side by side, Brown as a symbol of position and Henry closing in one number at a time, it creates a feeling that's hard to shake. This Sunday might not just be another chapter in the season. It could be one of those days when football history stops for a second to pay attention to what's about to unfold, paving the way for something even bigger inside Baltimore itself.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Inside the Ravens locker room, this chase isn't treated like some distant individual milestone. It directly affects the way the team takes the field. When a group knows one of its guys is on the verge of something this monumental, it shifts the environment. It's not pressure, it's energy. It's the feeling of everyone wanting to play a part in the moment, block harder, execute cleaner, and treat every snap like a chance to etch themselves into the memory of this run. Henry has made it clear from week one that he didn't come to Baltimore just to blend into the system. He came to redefine what this offense looks like when the ground game is operating at full power. The team feels it. His presence changes the way defenses react, changes the pace of the game, and even changes the mood in the locker room after those bruising, physically dominant wins that drain opponents. And when that style collides with a moment this close to history, everything gets amplified. It also creates a certain collective confidence. When you have a player who can punish weak run defenses, control the tempo, and carry responsibility without blinking, the benefits go far beyond rushing yards. Baltimore steps onto the field knowing there's a clear path to controlling the emotional and physical tone of the game. And when a team has that, it plays differently, steadier, heavier, and more aware of what it can build. And that ripple effect leads to rising expectations. Because when a player transforms the offense like this while being inches from a historic moment, the combination naturally points toward a game that could define the season. And that brings up the question growing louder by the minute. How far can this moment push the Ravens in their championship chase? This Sunday presents that rare mix of opportunity and urgency. On one side, a running back closing in on records that felt untouchable. On the other, a team building a season too big to ignore what's happening. When Henry faces run defenses that can't handle his style, the result is usually the same: punishment, pace, control, impact. And if that happens again, it wouldn't be surprising to see the record books get rewritten before the afternoon is even over. That possibility hits differently for anyone following the team, not because it's an isolated achievement, but because it feels connected to something bigger happening inside the franchise. Baltimore isn't just winning games. It's shaping an identity built on strength, maturity, and an offense that knows exactly when it's time to take over. Henry fits perfectly into that idea. And when he finds the kind of defense that lets him impose that style, everything becomes an extension of what the Ravens want to be. There's an emotional side to it, too. Watching someone get this close to a place so special puts a different weight on every run. It's like each carry matters a little more. Like the clock slows down so no one misses a second of what's happening. The players feel it, the locker room feels it, and the fans ride along with a level of intensity that goes beyond a normal game. It's the kind of mix that turns an ordinary Sunday into a moment people remember. And if everything lines up the way it seems to be building, this could be one of those days you look back on and remember exactly where you were when you watched Henry climb another rung among the greatest to ever do it. The kind of moment that doesn't end when the final whistle blows, because it keeps echoing through the team and the entire season. Derrick Henry walks into this game carrying something much bigger than stats. He carries a real chance to write his name next to some of the biggest legends the NFL has ever seen. Every yard he gains on Sunday can shift history, rewrite lists, and strengthen the physical identity the Ravens are building around him. And when you combine that with a vulnerable defense on the other side, everything points toward a game where history might be staring us right in the face. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Henry clears that group of legends today? Because if he does what he always does when the moment demands presence, power, and personality, this could be the day Baltimore watches another giant take another step toward football immortality. And if it happens, it won't just be a number in a book. It'll be one of those moments that echo through the team, the fan base, and the entire season.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.